I haven't seen that many people on the left doing videos about the death of the Kilroy event in Arizona. I think it's valuable for the left to at least give some kind of passing comment to this. As the Sargonist movement has died, Kilroy was the moment where, you know, it was actually, I think, roughly a week ago. Kilroy is that moment where the moral bankruptcy of Kekistan, of classical liberalism, of that little school of radical centrists, is kind of externalized and physicalized. You know what I mean? The free speech absolutist movement is, I think, I don't just want to say dead, but like this was post-exposure. This is when this group was exposed from the right, but for the same reason they were criticized by the left and the SJW community for a long time. We've been told, everybody, that radical centrist free speech activism was horseshit. It was a scam. It was a cash grab. You know, charlatanism. You know, there was never any substance to free speech. It always had a bent that was defined by whoever donated to the most to Patreon that month. It, you know, from Sargon to you know, someone like Tim Pool or Lauren Southern, on and on and on. It was always a tokens for talking points system. It was an iteration of internet sophistry. You know, this little crop of YouTubers that would attack the left if you put a coin in the machine, you know, and then they would just say it was about free speech. But then they would start making lists and databases of professors, left-wing professors, and Sargon would circulate online petitions, against left-wing businesses and left-wing universities. And, you know, so I mean, it was always hollow and horseshit. And we always said that the alt-right was exploiting these people and that they were being propped up by the alt-right, that it was fake populism, that the soul of Kekistan was empty, and it was ignorant, and it was, you know, wallowing in the politics of Kekistan were about pure trolling and cyber harassment. The politics of Kekistan were about free speech, not in substance, but free speech as a meme, free speech as something you say that is viral, but is robbed of its actual meaning. So yeah, the political group that staged and then showed up to Kilroy has been exposed as the centrist equivalent of televangelists who basically corporatized Christian doctrine and turned Christian orthodoxy, turned Christian principles into a meme. So you could be a televangelist and be greedy and be vain because you were just wielding Christian as a meme. You were just presenting Christianity as a monetizable identity. That's what kind of always spoke to me about the shitlords. You know, that was always what they reminded me of, was like Benny Hinn and all those I mean, I'm old. So it reminded me of all these televangelist pastors that popped up in the 1980s and 90s that were just so there for their own brand and there for their own enrichment, and they would do a little song and dance and say whatever you decided Christianity was, you know. And because right-wing Christians, because there are left-wing socialistic Christians, there are you know, the majority of Christians in communities of color are people who are economically socialist, because that is, if you follow the I know this seems like a digression, but don't worry, I'm gonna tie it all together. It's all gonna come back. It seems like if you translated the principles of Christian doctrine into an economic position, you would get socialism. But televangelists go, no, fuck that. Socialists don't have any money. This is a cash hustle. So if the right wing is the group, or right leaning is the group of people that want to donate here, then by all means, deposit a token, and I will provide for you a version of Christianity that is corporate, a version of Christianity that fights for tax cuts for the wealthy and for small business owners. This has always existed in terms of, even if you go back to like revivalism. But it was fascinating to watch the skeptic movement, which the skeptic movement existed before monetization and the partner program. It was splintered off into a right-wing pandering money hustle by monetization, because historically the right wing is where all the patronage is. The right wing still dominates Patreon when they're not being banned for the kind of wild shit that Lauren Southern gets banned for. So, the second, again, I've been watching fucking YouTube since, around 2007. The second that I saw the platform become monetized, I realized it was going to start skewing to the right, because the right wing is like evangelical Christians. They will pay you to twist and bend reality, to twist and bend the meaning of words, or divest words of their actual meaning, in order for you to create for them a customized reality, a custom reality, like Peter Coffin has talked about in his book, which is available now on. This is an unpaid plug, but Peter Coffin's book, Custom Reality, on Amazon, I highly recommend. But yeah, so the skeptic movement was transformed into a right-wing money hustle. And if you pay me, I will tell you that Nazi Sig Heiling is just free speech, and I will tell you whatever you want as long as you put a token in the slot. And so, all these years later, the alt-right was disillusioned by Kilroy. That was the departure point for the alt-right, because the alt-right, for all that they do, and they do have scammers in the alt-right, the alt-right believes what they say. Then they put the free speech philosophy to the test. And what happened was that the skeptics realized that they're willing to exploit plausible deniability online to soft pedal fascists as long as they're willing to donate. But what they realized was appearing in public at a convention with alt-right speakers was a lot harder to find plausible deniability on. They were going to be in public, in real life, with the scum of the earth. So when the alt-right said, this is a free speech convention, so we're going to talk about ethno-states, and we're going to set up our panels, because there were supposed to be alt-right speakers at one point, and they started setting up panels about the Jewish question, and they started setting up panels about all kinds of wild Nazi shit. And Kilroy said, no, this is bad for business. People physically, in real life, without the safety and anonymity of the internet, the normie contingent of the shitlord audience, are not going to want to pay to go to a convention that contains Holocaust denial and Zionist occupied government conspiracy theories. It was a money decision to defend the brand of free speech, but not the substance of what their supposed free speech position is. So they were exposed to be hollow. And then, I really love, like, when you look at the videos of Kilroy, and you see how fucking empty it is, how much it reflects the people. And again, most of them canceled out. There was supposed to be way more of these radical centrist, free speech absolutists there. But most of them canceled out because they just didn't see any money in it. The only person that really made a bunch of money off of Kilroy was the thief-based mama, who I told people when before Kilroy even made their goal, I told people that this is a cash scam, this is a money hustle, and that all these people donating to this fundraiser are going to get punked. And that's where it landed now. So what we have in front of us, myself being somebody who came here when the skeptic shitlords represented the right wing of this platform, disingenuously from behind the mask of being center-left or being disaffected liberals who were put out by the radical left and their gender pronouns, it does bring me some satisfaction to look in the real world and see these people when they came offline being confronted by empty chairs and empty convention centers that reflected back to them. And they still gave their fucking speeches to empty rooms, because that's what it means. I would never give a fucking speech to an empty room, because I believe my shit. I don't want to talk to a wall. I actually want to reach people. The only person who gives a speech to an empty room is someone who's just doing what they got paid to do today.